Hey everyone, we're back with more Fat Reacts, and today we are doing TikTok because I was scrolling through the app as one does. And of course, I came across some ludicrous, frankly, gaslighting material. Yes, and so I'm here to share it with you, okay? As we all know, fat acceptance loves to promote their strange ideology and call it science, when in reality says the opposite when it comes to things like weight loss and calories, etc., etc. Now, they will use research when it benefits them, but when you have research that goes against them, they're always there to remind you that it's both racist, bigoted, sexist, all these different little things, right? Well, I thought we could watch some of these videos and just kind of like see the different ways that they're trying to trick you. So yeah, let's jump into it. We all know William Hornby. We all know he loves to get on here and just go off on the most random things, like usually in this weird fake conversational format, which you'll see in a second. Okay, I'll show you 1 second. I have no idea what this is my You May Like page. I have never watched any content like this, but hey, I don't know, maybe TikTok thinks I'll like it. I wouldn't know. I'm only on TikTok for fat acceptance and I don't even have an account. But yeah, this is William, as I was saying. He's very, very dedicated to the cause. Let's see what he has to say about calories in, calories out.
Fat people wouldn't exist without overeating. It's simple physics. It's calories in, calories out. Oh, so you want to be wrong about fat people and physics. It's literally the first law of thermodynamics. Please do quote your beloved first law of thermodynamics. Energy can't be created or destroyed within a closed system. Okay, sure. What is a closed system? A system that's closed? It's a system where matter doesn't transfer in or out of it. That's what I said. The human body is very much an open system. So the first law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to the human body, and SICO is bullshit. No.
I love how he's like, let's point out this flaw in thermodynamics and therefore calories in, calories out is not real, right? Now, you can make all the arguments you want about the physics and the clone system. I don't think it actually matters because we do know how the body operates on energy. And the body uses energy. You put energy in, the energy is expended.
No, SICO is science. It's not! It's a theory from 1959 that has been disproven repeatedly in the 6 decades since.
Okay, in what ways has it been disproven? Has it been disproven because there is a range of normal for how many calories one person may burn? Now, like for example, a calorie counter may tell you to go on 1,500 calories a day in order to lose 2 pounds per week. But depending on your muscle mass and your metabolism, that could be like plus or minus a couple hundred calories, right? It really does depend on like what kind of shape your body is in. Muscle mass really plays a huge deal on how many calories that you're burning. And also your level of physical activity, which that just goes without saying. So yeah, it's not an exact amount of calories. It does range from person to person. Someone can weigh exactly the same amount as I do, but they actually might just burn more calories. That being said, it's not as if that is outside of a standard deviation, right? It's not like, one person can eat 5,000 calories and not gaining weight at my weight, and one person can eat 2,000 calories and still gain weight. That's just not true. That is not true at all. And also, when he says that something's a theory, it's like, do you not understand how science works? Science operates on theory. Like, what does he think a theory is? I really, really want to know that. Because that's typically how science operates, is we go with a theory, we run a bunch of experience, we try to prove the theory by trying to test it in these different ways or see if it repeats of the same way. And then we're like, okay, this seems like it could be the case. This is the science, right? This is what science has shown. Science is inherently questioning. This idea that they're like, oh, it has to be proven. It's like nothing in science is ever proven because you have to keep running the theory. And they don't seem to understand the difference between like what is evidence and what is proof, because all the evidence we have up until this point shows that it is likely, okay? But proof of something is significantly harder to find. It is very difficult to prove something.
It's just common sense. Oh yes, of course. How dare I cite the very true reality that the human body is more complex than a simple one-step subtraction equation. Are you seriously that incurious? I am not incurious. I do my own research. Well, then clearly you're not very good at it, because if you just look at Kevin Hall's 2011 research, where he just factored in downshifts in metabolism alone, it found that SICO overpredicts weight loss by 100%. Okay. If SICO actually worked, all you would have to do is maintain a deficit until you reach your goal weight, and then maintain equilibrium for the rest of your life and never gain weight again. But it doesn't happen because it doesn't work.
Let's just talk about for a second what he said there. So he cited his research in 2011 about how it overpredicts weight loss by 100%. That means it's overpredicts it by like 2 times the amount. And once again, we have to go back to how exactly studies are done on people, especially when it comes to feeding people. We can't put people in cages. We can't control everything that they're doing. And so a lot of these studies are very difficult to conduct because we cannot control how much people are actually eating unless we just say, hey, please stay in this little environment here and we will give you 1,500 calories a day and see if you lose weight long term. And they're not allowed to leave. That just does not seem realistic. Please show me the study that shows me that. Now, likely what that study did show, and I haven't looked at it. Let's see what Kevin, let's go back a little bit.
Well, then clearly you're not very good at it, because if you just look at
Kevin Hall. Okay, guys, I took a long break there and I just read the study, and basically the author of that study he cites says that it's more than just calories that are making people fat, but their carbohydrate intake, like high glycemic load, so things that spike your blood sugar. And he's basically saying that it's easier to maintain weight if you are eating fewer carbohydrates. Which I'm on a keto bro, but like that to me does not seem like that hard to do. If you have more protein, you're going to feel fuller. And so he's kind of presenting this research as if it disproves calories in, calories out altogether. And really, the research didn't do that. It just said, yeah, there's more to the story, which obviously there is. And it was more about how the spiking your blood sugar really like spikes the reward center of your brain. Your brain is just going to make you hungrier, right? If you're having all this extra, high glycemic food. It's funny that he's like calling this guy out for like not doing proper research when really all he did was cite studies from 2011 that's about eat fewer carbs. I really think the gist of that research was showing that people are likely to regain their weight because they're kind of ignoring different food groups. Like, I know that's not what he said explicitly, but it just seems like he's saying, well, you're ignoring you're just focusing purely on calories, and there's, you're not focusing on actually what you're eating. And I do think there is some merit to that because you need to make sure you're getting all your nutrition. Like, we watched the previous videos, I said, oh, nutrition doesn't matter. Well, it really does. So if your body is lacking a nutrient, you will crave that nutrient. My body's always lacking salt, so I'm always craving really hyper palatable, like salty food. And the same thing with like steak, right? I'm always like low iron, so I'm always craving steak. I'm gonna have steak after I'm done filming this video, by the way. But yeah, I don't think he fully understands the work that he's reading. I think it's probably the most biased take on that research.
Okay. If CECO actually worked, all you would have to do is maintain a deficit until you reach your goal weight, and then maintain equilibrium for the rest of your life and never gain weight again. But it doesn't happen because it doesn't work. So
it does work. Lots of people have done it. Now, I would make the argument that you'll likely regain weight if you're not being like nutritionally adequate, right? If you're not getting all your nutrition, therefore you're going to end up overeating in some cases. And that's basically it. Just make sure you're eating a balanced diet. Whole foods, all that stuff.
So stop acting like you know anything about this, and most importantly, stop harassing fat people.
Harassing me, man, with all that yelling. Okay, so yeah, there's that first one. If you guys know more about that study, please like talk about it down below. Seems like a lot of people are not happy about it. And a lot of people have a lot to say. Yeah. Another thing I think it talked about was like plateaus. I'm more interested now in the study than I am watching more TikToks. We are going to do that in a second. But I was just thinking about it. It talked about like plateaus and stuff, and why some people can very easily break through plateaus and others can't. And, that goes back to like, oh, it's set point theory. Your brain wants you to like maintain a certain weight, right? And I think it has more to do with that your body is like trying to judge like, oh, do I have enough nutrition to keep cutting calories? Because I've definitely hit plateaus, and I hit like a really long one, like over, fall, whatever. But for me, it was just like, I had to really, really, really like double down on my beef intake. If that makes any sense. I really needed that iron. I really needed all the nutrition that came with beef, all the calcium, all everything, right? And then I started losing weight again. Okay. I started losing weight again, and I'm feeling great so far. Okay. Wish me luck, it keeps on going. But I think more than just the science gaslighting, there's this gaslighting that occurs in fat acceptance where they're actively trying to get people to join them. Like, not just join them in their beliefs, but join them in their fatness, which you'll see in these next two TikToks.
Oh, you're going back for seconds. Are you sure you want to do that? Well, yes, the food is great and I'm still hungry, so. Is that a good idea, though? Why wouldn't it be a good idea? Oh, I don't know. I'm just concerned about you. Well, I only see you once a year and we barely talk, so I'm just dying to know why you're concerned about it.
Please let me know if you've ever had a conversation like this. This is so cringe, this fake conversation. I honestly cannot imagine this ever happening, like realistically.
I'm not trying to start anything, and clearly I've offended you. Well, you have started something, so allow me to end it. Oh, I would like to not hear from you for the rest of this gathering so I can enjoy all the delicious food I'm about to get in peace. I was just trying to talk to you. No, because that could have started with, "Hi, how are you? It's good to see you," not trying to police the food that I'm eating at this gathering, which I can only assume is based on some perceived flaw in my body. You're acting so rude. I am so sorry that you think it's rude to point out how rude you are.
Okay, yeah, maybe in the case of this actually happened. But let's just condescend people into agreeing with us. It's the way to get it to work.
But that's not my problem. Well, I'm sorry. Well, there's a start, and hopefully throughout the next year, before I have the displeasure of the potential of this conversation with you ever again, you will realize that your eyes should really only ever be on your own plate. Have an educational year. So good to see you.
Yeah. And the gaslighting there in that case is that stuff like this actually happens. So you might have like one rude relative, like I love my grandmother, but this is something that she would do where she would just be like, "Are you still eating?" She would do like the comments like that. And it was very rude. I would call her out on being rude, but it was never like this really long, cringe conversation. To make it sound like this is a constant thing, you have the ability to control who you associate with. It's just more gaslighting to maintain the narrative that they're constantly in the victim position. And we have more of it here.
I wish I could eat that. Let me know how it is. There's plenty left if you want some. No, I know. I just shouldn't. Oh, why? Are you allergic? No, I just actually care about my figure.
Wow. Okay. I actually care about my figure. Who actually says things like that? I've never heard anyone say that. I was in a situation very, very similar to this where I went to like this book club and I met these girls for the first time and they were very sweet. And one of them got this like really delicious looking dessert, but I already planned my calories out for that day. I knew I was going to go out and have like some alcoholic drinks later that evening. So I was like, I'm counting for those like calories, right? And she offered me part of her dessert and I was like, "Oh, that's okay." And she's like, "Are you sure it's really good?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm just like on a diet," right? And she looked at me and she was, was very smooth. She was like, "Yeah, I can't be on a diet. I love sweets too much." I'm like, "Oh, I love sweets too. I'm just like, I'm going to go out later and I just have to make sure that I'm, watching what I do." And that was the end of it. Okay. Nobody cared beyond that. I didn't judge her. She didn't judge me. And if she felt like I was judging her, that's her problem, right? And to say, "Oh, I actually care about my figure." Now, it's different to say that. Most people would say, "I'm watching my figure," right? Or something like that. Or they say, "I'm on a diet." And then he's going to actively call him a bad person because of this perceived slight, right? I mean, and here it's actually a slight, but in real life, like, let's be honest, people are not saying it this way. And if you are, you're probably not associating with them.
Wow, I wish you put nearly as much effort and restraint into being a decent person. There is no need to get nasty. How exactly did you imagine this conversation going? Pleasantly? In what world am I supposed to have a pleasant reaction to you pointing out something on my plate and then using it as a segue to talk about the lengths you go to stay skinny? Look, I know it's uncouth to say this these days, but I'm just passionate about my health.
It's actually the opposite. It's uncouth to like not care about your health. Okay. It's not a good look to not care about it at all. So that's also a weird perception.
No, Diva, you care about staying skinny. You've made that very clear. And you know what? That's your business. You do you.
I just wonder if anybody else is pointing out these conversations. Oh, another conversation that definitely happened. Yes, exactly. Nobody actually does this.
But don't use the food on my plate to talk about it. And furthermore, don't talk about it with me. Clearly, I've made you unhappy. Please, you couldn't ruin my holiday if you tried, but I am concerned about how unhappy you seem to be. Oh, but again, don't worry about me. I'm gonna go drink my little drink and eat my food and I guess hope that you find happiness in the next year so that we never have to have this conversation again.
Well, there you have it, guys. Let's just totally believe that this is reality. I know one was like a science-based video and the other were very social-based videos, but they put those two things together in order to maintain this victim narrative that we talked about, right? One is, they're being oppressed by what they would think is shoddy research and it's not true. And now people are applying that research onto them to say that they need to lose weight. And they're arguing, no, that research isn't real. And it's just going to go back and forth and arguing about it, right? When we all know in reality that you can lose weight. I'm losing weight. I haven't regained any weight. It's been almost 3 years. And on the other end of the spectrum, they are using social emotional manipulation, such as coming up with these fake arguments that I really, really doubt that they've like run into maybe more than a handful of times in their lives, right? But at the end of the day, we all know it's just because they're so unhappy with themselves that they have to drag everybody else down with them, whether that's by saying, "Hey, it doesn't matter what you eat, you're going to gain weight or not be able to lose weight at all. You might as well just give up." Or they're going to say, if you disagree with me, you're a bad person. And we're going to try and have you self-insert into that other person in the conversation that he was showing, when we know that's not what you're actually doing. That's not what you're actually saying. So please don't identify with it. Not that I think anybody would on this channel, but if you had any doubts, just know you didn't do anything wrong. Okay. Well, anyways, that's what I have for today. TikTok's always fun, right? And I will film another video after this, and you'll see me in the same outfit as always. I love orange, and we'll see how many I can get done tonight. You guys have a great evening.